Welcome back. It's the last lap of the show. We're turning our attention to another issue now. We're talking about celebrating women and the role of women in economic development. Yesterday was International Women's Day, and a lot of data prior to yesterday's celebration came out that there's still very low participation of women, especially at the corporate level. According to PricewaterhouseCoopers, only about 22% of women are still in leadership position, and that number doesn't look like it's improving anytime soon. But let's get the thoughts of Fire Williams, who's an entrepreneur and the first vice president, Necas Network of Entrepreneurial Women. She's here with me in the studio. So good morning to you, and thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
So happy belated International Women's Day.
I think we're still in the mood for celebration.
Okay, so we're still celebrating. But was there anything, is there really anything to celebrate for the women, especially seeing that from last year to this year, there hasn't really been an improvement in the numbers that women have totally always been crying out for, improvement in government, improvement of numbers also in corporate organizations?
When you talk about government, we actually had a decrease, between the last administration and now. So you have a point in wondering whether there is room for celebration. But I would say that there's been a whole lot of awareness, and even the women themselves are beginning to step forward to be counted. So this is, a cause for some, at least, celebration, if I may put it that way, because women are more aware that they have the skills, they have the knowledge, and they have the capacity to do whatever they want to do and be what they can be.
So looking at it now in terms of their role in growing the economy, how much contribution have we seen women make in growing the economy?
I must say it's still very low, because if you look at the entrepreneurial sector, you have only about 18 to 20% of women operating MSMEs. So it's still very much a male-dominated area. So what I'd like to, really recommend is that there needs to be a lot more empowerment. There needs to be identification of the business opportunities, especially now that we are all talking about falling oil prices and the need to get other sectors of the economy generating their own contribution to the GDP. So we look at a sector like the agric, look at shea butter processing. You have a whole lot of women in that sector, but as you are developing that sector, you have to get back to planting the trees. So we need all-encompassing policies that would help to really get these sectors moving and to encourage more women to participate.
Goal number 5 of the 17 SDGs
yes,
is for gender equality.
That's
and
right.
This year's theme was Planet 50-50 by 2030.
Yes.
Step it up for gender equality. Should we be looking at having gender equality or near gender equality?
We should be looking at having gender equality. It's very important.
Why?
It's like firing with only one of your cylinders. If you are only promoting, one aspect of gender, which is probably the male gender, you need to encourage the women, because they come up with a different perspective of development, a different perspective of business, a different idea altogether. So we need to get everyone on board so that we can really achieve the Planet 50-50 by 2030.
But then, this push for parity,
Yes.
by the women folk and some men folk who seem to be quite supportive of this
some are
idea.
Very supportive.
Do you think it is what the economy needs at this time? Why don't we just, have a situation where maybe not parity, like I already said earlier, maybe a situation where you have 80 to 100?
I'm going to have to win you over, honestly, Harriet. We need parity in order to foster true economic development. We have to use all the capacity that we have. And honestly, we should encourage women to take their rightful place. So we should be working towards 50-50 and not 80-20, as you have said. It is what we need right now. From the corporate organizations to the MSMEs, we need the women to come out and be counted. We need them to come on board and contribute to the growth.
What is Necas Network of Entrepreneurial Women doing in that regard?
Well, we have established a microfinance bank, for instance, and we have been able to provide funding for over 700 women. We're having the testimonials tomorrow, Thursday, because we're marking that right in the center of the market, you know, where we're located. We're having health screening, and we're going to have the women who are the beneficiaries of these loans come up to let us know how it has grown their business. You need to note that over 65% of MSMEs rely on personal savings to set up their businesses, and another 20% go to the family. Hardly any, you know, very low numbers go to the financial institutions, and even lower numbers approach the cooperatives. So we need to begin to let the financial institutions be more friendly. We have started a women's and youth's microfinance bank. We're approachable. You know, the conditionalities are not too great. You don't need to have collateral, but you need to have a relationship with the bank. And of course, we're very keen on your record keeping. So with initiatives like that, I am sure that we can encourage a whole lot more women to actually participate and contribute their quota to GDP.
So that's in terms of financing.
Yes.
What about education, which is really very key? That is still at an all-time low.
You are right. There's so much more that needs to be done, starting from awareness. In fact, a whole lot of SMEs, they're not even aware of some of the capacity building institutions which we have, both public and private. Right now, we have the big portal. This has just been floated by the Federal Ministry of Trade and Investment, and our organization happens to be one of the business development service providers on this portal. So we need the MSMEs to sign up on the portal. They will get trained, they will get tutored, access to markets, you know, some of the things we are thinking about, and of course, capacity building. I would also like to congratulate those who just graduated from the Road to Growth. The Sherry Blair Foundation, you know, mediated this, and honestly, we need to see a whole lot more of such initiatives.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Williams, Fire Williams, for coming on the program this morning and sharing that with us.
It's been great being here. Thank you.
Fire Williams is first Vice President, Necas Network of Entrepreneur Women, and a very serious entrepreneur.